What's going on, guys? We got another project tonight. Let's get into it. Alright, so what we got tonight, we are going to start on a project that I don't have all the material for yet. I got to go into Salt Lake tomorrow and pick up the material. I can only do part of the work tonight, which is okay because I got softball games after I get this first part done. But I'll show you what we got. I do have a piece of plate here, and it's 3/8 plate. This piece is almost exactly 48. It is 60.5 long. What we're going to be working on is a welding table, and the customer called us. They don't need anything real substantial, anything real heavy. They're just going to be using it to like tack something up once in a while and maybe mount a vise too. So this doesn't have to be extremely robust. So we're going to take this in, we're going to pull our measurements, we'll get it all cleaned up. You can see it rained the other day, so it got a little bit of rust on it, but we're going to clean it up. You won't even be able to tell. And we are going to round the corners. We'll pull our measurement for 48. We'll rip it down, and then we'll go ahead and start laying out where the frame's going to go underneath. Now the frame, that's what I don't have the material for, so I'm going in to get that tomorrow. So tonight, that's all we're going to work on, is just getting the tabletop prepped up and ready to go. So we'll get this in the shop and we'll go from there. What I'm doing here is I'm doing the offset. So for my Hypertherm, the nozzle on the end, the offset is 7/16 of an inch. So if I want to be on this side of the line, I pull 7/16 of an offset. If I want to be on that side of the line, I would pull 9/16. So basically, when the cut's all done, it's 1/8 of an inch wide. So just so you guys understand what I'm doing. Alright guys, so I've got to get the truck hooked up to the trailer and get it all ready to go for the morning. So I'm going to back this out and get it hooked up. This is actually going to be the first time I've pulled with the new truck. We will go over the truck for you guys that are interested.
It's time for today's super cool tool.
Alright guys, so for today's super cool tool, we're going to be talking about what's behind me here, which is a 2024 Chevy 3500 HD. It is the LTZ model. As you guys know, if you watch the channel, I've been trying to get a new truck for over a month, and I finally was able to pick this one up. This is the color I wanted. It is going to be both a work truck and a family truck. I'm going to use it to pull the camp trailer when we go camping with the family, and I'm going to use it to pull the gooseneck trailer when I've got to go get steel. This is a multi-use truck for me. I thought about keeping the old Ford, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought it's probably just going to sit there most of the time, because really the only time that I use a truck is either if I'm going camping, or if I'm going somewhere to do some mobile welding, or I pick up steel and I'm pulling the gooseneck. So it made more sense to me to sell the blue truck and put the money towards a new one. That also made the blow a little less with the price of trucks nowadays. So I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that are thinking, well, that's not a tool. Well, honestly, the way I see it, your truck is a tool. And if you have tried to run a business without having a truck for a month, you definitely will start feeling like it's a tool. Not only is it a tool, it's one of the most important tools you have. So I'll give you guys a walk around and show you guys the ins and outs of the new truck. I would like to know if you guys are interested in seeing the additions that I make to the truck. If so, please drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you don't. And depending on what kind of feedback I get, I guess I'll either keep it to myself or I'll just keep you guys posted as I go. I have already put a couple of little things on the truck, and I'll show you guys those now. This truck didn't come with running boards. It is stock height, stock wheels and tires. But it is just tall enough when you get in that you need something. So these are the ones I opted for. At this point, I couldn't afford the ones that lower themselves because they're $1,400. So at this point, I settled for the ones that are $350. They're pretty low profile. They don't stick out too far, so I'm happy with that. A couple of the other things that I did put on it. I'm a rock tamers guy. I like rock tamers. I think they do save your trailer when you pull a camp trailer. It definitely helps keep the rock chips down on your trailer. I put a new Anderson hitch on it. I did get the gooseneck ball kit for this one. I like this model because the handle, you can grab the handle and when you flip it up, you can pull it right out. You don't have to touch the ball because you're supposed to grease the ball, and who wants to touch greasy balls? So I'm going to be real with you guys, and I'm going to tell you guys the things I like, the things I don't like. First thing that I found that I didn't like, and I'll show you guys a picture. I like to run my truck with a toolbox in the back. I keep tools, everything that I may need if I run into issues in that toolbox. And it can still fit in there when I pull the gooseneck. I've got plenty of clearance, so I like that system. But I'll show you guys a picture of what I ran into. So GM actually, for this year, put the DEF next to where the diesel fill cap is, which I think is a good thing. A lot of people complained about that one because it used to be that you had to pop the hood to fill the DEF, so they put it in there. I think that's great. The only problem is they changed the bed design, and so there's a taper in this corner that there isn't in this corner, and I'll show you guys a picture of that. So because of the taper, my toolbox wouldn't fit. So if you guys can tell, I ended up cutting the corner on this box and welding a new piece on to modify it so that it would work. So you can see that the angle on this side is a little steeper than this side so that it could clear that taper up in there. I wasn't real happy about that. I think that's a stupid design. I think the engineers probably could have came up with a better system so that they didn't have to modify the bed on one side with a big nasty taper on it. So that's the first thing that I found that I don't care for. Now I'm going to walk you guys through. I'll just show you guys real quick. It does have the larger screen in it, which I really like. You can see I don't have all the features that a lot of the LTZs have. There's usually more switches here and stuff. But so far I am happy with all the features that I do have in here. I don't have sunroof or anything like that. I've had the sunroof before and I really don't care for it. You would be amazed at how hard it is to find an LTZ or an LT with the bench seat and leather. I wanted leather because I think leather's easier with kids, it stays cleaner, and it's hard to find the bench seat. So that's probably part of the reason I had such a heck of a time finding this truck. This is one of my favorite parts, is I like this. It's got like a silver wood inlay in the doors. I think that's pretty much gorgeous. Back seat is bigger, a lot of leg room. There's a console here, storage in the seats. Kind of cool that they utilize that space. It's got 18-inch wheels. That is going to change. I'm going to end up putting some 20s on it, I think, and I'm still trying to decide what size of tire. I don't want to have to do any trimming. I may level it and I'll just put the biggest size tire I can on it, but I'm not going to lift it. I had a 6-inch lifted truck before, and I'm past that stage. I'm more about something that's practical for my family to use. So that's pretty much the truck. There's not a whole lot else to show you. One of the big things that I wanted on this that I don't have is the bed view camera. It does have the camera back here, but it doesn't have that one. And I was really hoping for that one because it would really make my life a lot easier hooking up to the gooseneck trailer. But oh well. For the price that I paid for the truck, it was less than a lot of other LTZs. The old blue truck didn't have a camera back there either, and I ran it for years, so I'll just continue to do the same thing, unless I have looked into possibly swapping that out and running a wire into the dash, possibly getting the factory camera installed on this truck, but they haven't come out with the accessories for the 2024s yet, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's the truck. So if you guys would like to see more on the truck as I do some upgrades, let me know. If not, that's fine. I won't put them on here. So that's going to wrap up today's super cool tool. Let's get back to the project. Alright, good morning guys. We just got in the truck. We're just getting ready to pull out of the driveway. So we're gonna go pick up steel today. Just wanted to give you guys another look at what it's like running a fab business while still running a full-time job. So we'll take the truck to work, and then after we get off, we'll go over to the steel yard, pick up steel, and then we'll come home and we'll continue to work on our welding table. Alright guys, we've got our steel here, got it all unloaded. Get the tube in the saw, start cutting the legs and the framework for the base of the table. So we'll go ahead and do that now.
Alright guys, so you can see here that I got the tabletop all cleaned off, knocked all the rust that was on there off, and I've got it flipped upside down. And then what I'm doing is laying out a border around the outside, and I decided to go 3 inches for the border because the customer is going to end up mounting a vise to this. So that gives just enough room that they can mount the vise to the corner, and then it won't interfere with any of the bolts to bolt the vise to the table. So once I had it all marked out, then I took my straight edge, went ahead and drew a line around the outside of the whole tabletop so that I knew exactly where to mount the angle and tack it on. So once the border was all laid out, then it was time to start tacking the legs on.
So you can see what I've done here. The angle in between is tacked. There's only going to be 2 stitch welds on the back side and 1 in the middle, and then we will tie it in here. So the main things that you want out of a welding table are you want it to be flat and you want it to be rigid enough to hold whatever you're going to be welding. The way we've built this frame, it should keep the table flat. And they're probably not going to be welding anything crazy. I like to add the angle supports just to keep it flat for the life of the table. But the thing you have to remember is when you do weld the structure to the tabletop, you want to put minimal amount of heat into the tabletop as possible. And I say that from experience because I built one at a previous job with, I want to say it was either 3/8 or 1/2 inch plate, and I stitch welded the frame on the bottom to the tabletop at like a 1/12, and it was too much heat and it ended up warping the edges of the table and it wasn't flat. I'm speaking from experience here. You want to make sure you put as little heat in there as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a 1-inch stitch on these corners. The structure itself will be welded together. We are going to put these in, and I'm thinking I'm going to just trigger these to keep the heat out of them. I'm not going to put anything on the back side here because the structure itself is welded to the tabletop as well, and then the structure itself will get welded solid. But the tabletop, keep the heat out of it. So that's our goal. All right, so now I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna start welding this out. We'll go back into time-lapse mode, I'll weld it out, and then we'll give you guys a look once I get that done. guys, so I think that wraps up the table. You can see I went ahead and put swirl marks in the top. This plate was a piece of cold rolled plate, so it didn't have the mill scale on it, so I thought, what the heck, just for looks I'll put the swirls in it. Looks kind of cool. And it is nice and straight. We didn't get it too hot. Pretty happy with that. Everything was welded out with dual shield on this one. It does sit nice and flat. There's no rock or teeter. I am going to lift it up, get it on my table, and do one last look through, check for spatter, clean up and all that stuff. There's our welding table. We're going to get it in Little Red and haul it up to the customer. Appreciate you guys watching. Remember, if you like what you see, then like, subscribe, and share. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Hope you guys have a good day, and we'll see you on the next one. And then obviously I don't think we want to risk it. But you do have to run wiring underneath the headliner. You do have to run wiring between the headliner and the roof of the cab.